Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight, or usually joining me, but not tonight, is Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, is a little crooked, and my cousin Todd, trying to come from way back far. NASCAR with Steven, and he's going to tell us what happened at Bristol. An appeals court blocks Texas's immigration law shortly after the Supreme Court action. The NBA has released a pool report for the Lakers versus Warriors controversial call. Pence says his decision not to endorse Trump is more than the January 6th incident. U.S. stocks surge high today after the Fed indicates 3 rate cuts still coming this year. March Madness, they're determining the bracket, and Virginia's first 4 embarrassment was completely avoidable. The selection committee disregarded its own metric, the NET rankings, in placing the Cavaliers in the NCAA men's tournament and snubbing teams like Indiana State and St. John's. Congress races towards a shutdown deadline. A 4th former Mississippi officer sentenced to 40 years in a racially charged torture case. The Israeli Supreme Court temporarily halts plans to return Palestinian hospital patients to Gaza after doctors appeal those stories and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Bristol and NASCAR with Stephen. Stephen, I'm just going to show just the page talking about Bristol NASCAR. Do you want to tell people who won that race? Can you hear me? I don't hear you, Stephen.
I was on mute. My mic was off. Denny Hamlin won the race. Well deserved on his part. Ran it clean. The thing that was just craziest about this race is the tire wear just was unbelievable. And I've already heard that Goodyear said they're going to keep it the same for next time, but they cannot. Even Richard Petty is like he's the king of NASCAR, and he's still a team owner. He said in his entire life in racing, he's never seen anything like this. These tires were just rubbed completely off. People are wrecking because of it. It's big controversy right now, and they're going to have to change. They're going to have to make some improvements, and clearer heads will get everything right. It takes away from the racing, and it didn't take away from the win from Denny Hamlin. Like I said, it was well deserved. It was a great race. It was anybody's race. So they're really getting it good. Everything that they've been trying to do for racing is getting better each time. They just got to get the kinks out, because I guess they didn't know that they haven't run these tires this long on this configuration of the way the wheels and the camber and everything is. Everything is little slight changes everything. But this week
we're going to see. Let me ask you. It sounds like my question is, how can they do that so fast? I mean, you said they got to make a change. They're not going to be able to make that change in like 3 days, right? When will they be able to make that change?
You're exactly right. It's going to take a while. There's going to be months before they have to race at this same racetrack again. So they'll have time to adjust everything, maybe get a different compound tire, maybe put different combinations together to see what they can do to keep this from happening again. And they have ways to fix it. It's just how they're going to fix it. Are they going to let the cars change more than they wanted right now? They like the cars the way it is. They're trying to keep everything as safe as it is. That's another part of safety. But if you're worried about safety, you don't want your tires blowing out and changing the entire race for everybody that has a great car. So it's going to be months in the making to get it right. But they'll change something or multiple things, and they'll get it all back tip top. But the initial report was, we're leaving everything, and I don't know what that was about. But like I was saying, this week we've got a road course, which I really love, and this is a new road course. They've only done it 3 years in Texas, and it's called COTA. It's the most unusual track of any racetrack anywhere. It has it has a turn like if you can see this, it turns this way. All the cars go. They're coming. I mean, no, they go and they turn that way. I'm sorry. It's just it's like a on the top of an A, like a little curved A. It's something I've never seen before. And they had to change where they started for the last 2 years because nothing but cars slapping each other the whole time. So they had to change where they're going to start it so they're not going too fast by the time they hit this curve. Then they go. It's like at least a two-story height angle, like maybe 45 degrees, and they're trying to fly up there. And everything about it, this configuration is weird. If you look it up online, Dakota track for NASCAR, it is bizarre. It's something I've never seen. I love road course, and this is a great race. And if I was going to take any, Martin Truex is good track. Is good track for him. And you have the guys they just bring in just for these kind of tracks. They're called ringers. So they bring in guys that only like do it from in different style, different cars. They'll bring them here. So there's a few people here that could do very well. And I'm not worried about the tires at this race. It's a whole different thing. Everything's different here. But it's going to be bizarre. If you get a chance, it comes on 2:30 on Sunday. If you get a chance, it's really interesting. Just watch the first couple laps, if nothing else. It's really
Okay,
bizarre.
Todd,
It's
you
like a
hear that?
circus
If you
race.
get a chance, 2:30 on Sunday, watch a few laps, if nothing else, cousin Todd.
I'm bored.
Well, if you will watch that race on Sunday, you won't be. I promise
You
you.
won't be.
You won't be.
Promise. All right, let's move on to the NBA, and I will share my screen. Steven, since we're the only sports people on right now, it's off
Excuse me?
Oh,
today.
excuse me.
Uh, since
What the
we're the
hell?
only sports people on, you see this article by Sports Illustrated. The NBA breaks silence on controversial call in Warriors versus Lakers. The NBA has released a pool report. So, um,
As if I don't know what any of that means. That's ridiculous. What she's saying to the audience, but Stacy is like, that the hockey players have gotten together and they're going to protest on the ice.
Mm, okay. Until the ice
and
melts. They'll stay there that long until it turns to water.
and I'm crazy.
I don't
I'm
need
talking
any
about
help from
NBA,
you.
and I'm talking about the NBA, and he's talking about ice hockey, and I'm crazy. All right.
Well, what was the outcome of did they
So
change
let's
anything?
get
Because they can't change
so,
anything. It's just going to be the same. Are they just saying we're sorry?
so the lot. Let's read it. The Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors. I keep saying Warriors had a bizarre finish. I should call them the Golden State Warriors. Had a bizarre finish to what was an exciting game Saturday night. That was last week. Along with a shot clock not working properly, there was an extensive review to see if LeBron James was out of bounds on a made three-pointer late in the fourth quarter.
Mm,
The report said that James's left foot is out of bounds as he begins to shoot. I think they mean begins to shoot. Yes, it is reviewable at that time. The rule is Rule 13, Section 2F3. Whether the shooter committed a boundary line violation, the replay center official will only look at the position of the player's feet at the moment they touch the floor immediately prior to the release of the shot. This
mm,
can be applied during other replay triggers as well. There was another big play late in the game, according to this article, when the shot clock malfunctioned,
mm,
allowing Golden State to get an extended possession beyond 24 seconds.
mm,
When asked about this play, Guthrie said the shot clock malfunctioned during live play at that time, and that is not a reviewable matter.
mm, mm. Well, I'm kind of skeptical, kind of jaded. I think whichever way it made MGM and Vegas and NBA and everybody richer and everybody that bets on it that matter. If it helped them, that's why they won't. They can't do anything. And things are little things like that is what changes the entire game. Little
What,
things like
Todd?
that.
What do you
Wait,
keep
what did Todd
switching
say?
us around for?
Why, you want to be in the center so you
I
can get
don't.
more?
Oh my gosh.
You want to be viewed a
he's,
I
certain
he's,
way
don't
more than
care.
another?
I
he's getting
just
sick. He's
wondering why
getting
you
ill.
keep spinning the
He's getting dizzy.
Spinning a drum. So, okay, Stephen, they really didn't say how that settled. It sounded like what they were saying was the officials were saying, this is what happened,
Yeah,
and the game is the game, and that's it. We're going to move on
that's it. That's all they can
initially.
do. Right? They can do it. They can do anything they want. They control the game. Yeah, they control it. They can do whatever they want, and they're not going to go back later and change anything. So to
Right.
review it is just silly. That's like we will review your case, but we will come with the same conclusion every time. Oh, great!
Every
Thanks.
time. All
We
right,
review
let's
it
go
like
to
this.
NCAA Division One men's basketball. It is that time of year again, March Madness. My favorite time of the year for sports, besides the start of the Eagle season. Um, March Madness is an exciting time because it's Cinderella teams that you don't think can make it to the top do. Teams that you think are going to make it to the top don't.
Right.
And it's just incredible. So the bracketology is in its 30th season on ESPN, where people must put in who they think is going to win. And it's really, really hard to do that
Not for me.
because,
It's easy for me. I'm
I
going with the Dodgers every time.
don't blame you. You could win some money.
and who's crazy?
We all might be.
And you wasted our time on that.
I just gave you my opinion. I'll just let you be dumb then.
So, some teams didn't get in this year, like UCLA, which was a surprise because they didn't do good during their season.
and
We can look at
UVA has
conference breakdown. I'm sorry, cousin Todd.
That
no. I'm
wasn't me.
sorry.
That was the crackpot.
UVA has to play their way in, and if they win, they could play Texas, which is a long shot for them. They have to play Colorado. If either one of them win that race, win that game, they have to play Texas. But I have Purdue winning it all and UConn playing against them, but it could be UConn. But I like those two. They're both number one seeds. I know I'm playing it real chalky, real safe, real square, but I do like those two to be in the final game. And I'm pulling for Purdue, so I think I'll take them. I think I'll take them to win it all. Do you have anybody,
Purdue?
Stacy, you like?
Purdue over the
Yeah,
Steelers?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I know I'm
what'd you say,
crazy.
cousin Todd?
No, nothing.
Purdue over the Steelers.
Oh, he said Purdue over the Steelers. Here he is interrupting good sports with insanity. So
I
let's go
know.
to the bracket. We're going to look at this bracketology. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger.
Which one are we doing first?
Well, I'm coming down to
The East?
this first four group.
Okay.
This four group. Let me get this out of here. Okay, thanks. Sorry.
The ones that have already
This
played?
group down the bottom. So it's Howard. Howard got in. Howard University versus Wagner, and Wagner won. Colorado over. Can you see that? Over Virginia.
Yeah. Kind of.
Grambling State versus Montana State, or Grambling versus Montana State.
Mm.
And then Colorado versus Boise State.
I thought Colorado played Cheney State University.
Lon Chaney. University.
So who do you have for these, Stephen? Because we can go through them pretty quickly because it's just
I-
us, and cousin
but-
Todd doesn't know anything about sports.
But they've already played,
except
right?
tennis.
Haven't they already played?
No, Grambling and Montana are playing right now.
All right. Where's Grambling and Montana?
And then Colorado and Boise play after that.
Grambling?
They must play.
Grambling, Montana. Okay, Grambling, Montana. I think because either one who wins is going to lose the next game. I'm going with
Red Sox.
I'm going with Grambling. I'll take
Yeah, I'm
Grambling
gonna
on
go
that.
with Grambling too. What about Colorado and Boise State?
What do they have there for the numbers? Is that 11, 12, or what is those numbers? I can't see. 10.
Said 16. Grambling is ranked 16. Montana's ranked 16. Colorado's ranked 10. Boise State is ranked 10.
Colorado, Boise State. I've never been to Boise State. I'm gonna have to take Colorado.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Colorado just because of Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Not me.
Colorado, Deion being in Colorado for football. I'll take his basketball team. Why not?
I'll take
I'm gonna write these down. Grambling.
Lincoln University.
Thank you.
Okay.
They're not
Yeah.
playing, Cousin Todd.
Oh,
Grambling.
All right, let's move on up because Todd is holding us up. As
Come on,
usual, because he
Todd.
knows nothing about sports
Todd, get with the program.
except tennis. That's the first four that goes from March 19th to the 20th, which is today. They'll play. And then over here, let's start from your number one Purdue team.
Yep.
And then Utah State versus TCU.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take TCU.
I have Utah State.
Okay.
take
Gonzaga
TBA.
versus McNeese. I'll take Gonzaga.
Yeah, I like Gonzaga a lot.
Kansas
he's
versus
just copying off
Stanford.
of you. He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
I'll go
Yes, he
first.
does.
I
Shut up,
like
Todd.
Kansas.
All right, so Kansas is having a little trouble right now. They have a few players out. They got banged up during the season. Samford is hot. I'm going to take Samford over Kansas.
Wow, I'm gonna circle that, Stacy, and I'm gonna find out what the spread is on that game, and I'm gonna put a Stacy bet on that one.
All right, I got
I
Samford
like that.
over Kansas.
I like that inside information. I didn't know that. I'll put a star beside my Kansas here. But you're talking about a 13 beating a 4, which it absolutely can happen.
Normally the 13 could not beat the 4 if the 4 did not have players that are hurt.
Yeah, I mean, or sometimes they just feel like, remember 2 or 3 years ago, UVA lost and they were the 1 seed and they got beat by the 16. It was the biggest upset ever at that point.
That's why it's March Madness.
That's why they call it madness.
That's why they call it madness.
And we're all crazy for thinking we know something.
South Carolina and Oregon.
I'm
gonna take the Ducks.
Yeah, just because of Aguna, I'm going with the Ducks. That's the only reason.
I know Aguna's mad. Aguna's gonna go with the Gamecocks. Okay, Creighton and Akron. I'm gonna take Creighton.
Yep, I've already got them penciled in. I don't have an eraser.
In Colorado State. I'm gonna take Colorado State.
Oh, well, wait a minute. They got to play first, right? It's Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, you saying Virginia and Colorado State, right?
No, Texas and Colorado State.
Well, Virginia. Yeah, but Virginia or Colorado State. Oh, Colorado beat them, right?
Yeah, you're not looking at the bracket.
Yeah. I can't see the screen. I'm looking at a paper, but I just realized I got the paper from Tuesday. Okay, so Virginia is out. Okay, Colorado State to beat Texas. I'll take Texas because Virginia just blew it. I think Texas is going to be better than Colorado State.
Okay, Tennessee and St. Peter's. I'll take Tennessee.
Yes. And I have them advancing a little bit too.
All right, let's keep moving up on the same side. Houston and Longwood. I'll take Houston.
Yes.
Nebraska, Texas, and Texas A&M. Who are you going to take?
I have Nebraska.
I'll try Nebraska. I'm going to go Texas A&M.
Okay.
Wisconsin and James Madison. I'll take Wisconsin.
Yes, but I have friends that are from James Madison. They're a real spunky, tough team. They can win. I mean, they're not in the same league really, But I would love. I'm gonna take James Madison and whatever points I can get. But straight up, I got to go with Wisconsin.
Okay, Duke and Vermont. I'll take Duke.
Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It the Beaver. Of course.
All right. Texas Tech and North Carolina State. That's going to be a tough one, but I think I'm going to have to go for NC State.
I have NC State all the way. I have them at +4.5, and I have them straight up. So I love NC State here. I think this is going to be an underdog game that should go this way. I love this game. Love it.
Right. Kentucky at Oakland. I'll take Kentucky. What about you?
Kentucky.
Okay, Marquette and Western Kentucky. I'll take Marquette.
Marquette and Western Kentucky. Yes, I got Marquette already. Did you do Florida and?
Well, Florida doesn't have anybody there.
They're going to play the winner of Boise State and Colorado.
Okay. Well,
Whoever wins that game.
I don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
I don't know.
Right. Yep. That's what that is. That's what I thought the other one was. I forgot. I forgot they hadn't played. I mean, I forgot they played already because I had to get the Tuesday paper.
All right. Let's start from the second row. North Carolina and Wagner. I'll take North Carolina.
Yep. I got that.
Oh, shoot. Come on. Sorry.
So it's Wagner and not Howard. Okay.
Mississippi State versus Michigan State. That's going to be a tough one. I'll take Michigan State.
I'll go with the team from the South, Mississippi.
All right. St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. I'll take St. Mary's.
Yes.
Alabama and Charleston. I'll take Alabama.
Love Alabama.
Clemson and New Mexico. I'll take Clemson.
Yep.
But I'm feeling New Mexico for some reason.
You feeling New Mexico? I'm going to put a little star beside that. I'm going to look at it later.
Okay. Baylor and Colgate. I'll take Baylor.
Yep.
Dayton and Nevada. I'll take Nevada.
Yeah, this could be a really, really good game. Just to be contrary, I think I'll just go with Dayton, but I'm gonna put a little sign beside that too, because I'll look at that later. Because I haven't put out my. This is official for the show, but not official for my turn-in.
Okay. All right. So next one we have is Arizona and Long Beach. I'll take Arizona.
Oh yeah, and they're going to be advancing a little bit too.
Let's go right on up the same side all the way to the top. Sorry, I'll make this UConn.
Yes.
Versus Stetson. That's UConn all the way.
Right.
I mean, UConn beating that game.
Easy. If they lose, I won't watch any more of it.
Florida Atlantic versus Northwestern. That's going to be a hard one. I'm going to go with Florida.
Me too.
Monkey see, monkey do.
UAB. San Diego versus UAB. I'm going to go with San Diego.
Yes.
Last year they were, they did pretty good. And I think they're coming back to, they've got they've got something to prove. Auburn and Yale. I'm going to go with Auburn. I'm an Auburn Tigers.
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked. I'm a little shocked about that, Stacy. I think I'm going to have to be contrary and go with Yale in another universe. I got Auburn too.
Okay. Brigham Young University and Duquesne. I'm going to go with Brigham Young. No, Duquesne. I'm going to go with Duquesne. Duquesne's been hot.
Uh-oh, that just confused him now.
No, I got to put a little star against that too. I do like both of them.
Go with Arkansas.
For this show, I will go with the Arkansas BYU. The Arkansas of BYU.
Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. Your name is Stephen Keith. All right, Stephen Keith.
That's a good name. I like a man with two first names.
So we're doing the NCAA brackets. Next, we have Illinois versus Morehead State. I'm going to go with Illinois. What do you have, Stephen?
Same. Monkey see, monkey do.
Stephen Keith, what do you have?
I don't entertain these ridiculous brackets. This is terrible. All of Steven's picks are wrong. And
It's
Stacy, I haven't
beneath
heard
him.
all of yours, but I will assume so.
It's beneath him. This is beneath him. This is kid
Okay,
stuff. He's too grown up for this.
Washington State versus Drake. I'm going to go with Washington State.
Me too.
Iowa State versus South Dakota State. I'm going to go with Iowa State.
Yes.
All right, that's all we got for bracketology.
So a contest where you guys pick all of the same picks?
Right.
We
No.
pick all the same picks.
Yeah, you won't hear earlier. We were contradictory. But we're thinking about the same. And I got 4 stars on my picks where I'm like, I got to look at them a lot deeper than I have so far. I get into it later after the show, and in the morning when I'm supposed to be working, I get into it a lot, and then I'll work hard in the afternoon to make up for where I was supposed to be working.
I'm just joking, man. In all seriousness, if we were to bring a monkey onto the show and put a bracket in front of that monkey and let him make picks, it would be just as legit as anything we pick, because that's how, like, it's lotto chances as far as picking a bracket.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
You're
absolutely right.
I wasn't saying that being serious. I was joking around, man. Any bracket I fill out is joking around. Like, no, all of the things you're saying are going to happen. They're not going to happen. Why? Because that's what happens every year.
Right. But if I'm in a pool with like 20 people, and I can win that every now and then, because everybody can it's a lot of luck involved, and it's a fun thing to do. And this is what everybody does right now. If people aren't doing the brackets, I'm sure even Todd's doing one. It just feels like, to me, if I don't do one, I'm missing out. Like last year, I wasn't able to put one in because I had so much going on, and it made the whole thing suck. Huh?
I said you would have had them all if they'd have just let you.
I probably would have lost them all, but at least I'd have some skin in the game.
Just understand, some lady in HR who's picking teams by colors is gonna whoop your ass. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
man.
that's fine,
Yeah,
but I like to have something to make it makes it more appealing.
All right, I want to move on to the Mississippi officer trial.
I don't know nothing about that.
Let me show the screen. In Rankin County, Mississippi, goon squad leader and another deputy sentenced for torture of 2 Black men. 4 other ex-officers still face sentencing. This was written on CNN.com Tuesday, March 19th by Emma Tucker, Ryan Young, Jade Gordon, and Sean Nottingham.
Well, why are you making it about race, Stacy? It could have been anybody.
Good for you.
That must have been, was that Keith or Steven?
It's like a mix. You know what I'm saying? It's like a mix of the two brains, the things they would say.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's a blend. Me and Keith are like a melting. Me and Keith are a melting pot.
Yeah, I'll say.
So in Jackson, Mississippi, 2 white former Mississippi law enforcement officers who were members of a self-styled goon squad were sentenced by a federal judge yesterday to prison after admitting to torturing and abusing 2 Black men last year, and 4 other white ex-officers who pleaded guilty in the abuse will be sentenced later this week. Hunter Elwood, a 31-year-old former Mississippi sheriff's deputy who faced the most serious of the federal charges for shooting one of the victims, was sentenced in federal court in Jackson to 20 years in prison. In a highly emotional hearing Tuesday morning, Jeffrey Middleton, a 46-year-old former sheriff's deputy, whom federal prosecutors described as the ringleader of the group, was sentenced to more than 17 and a half years in prison that afternoon.
What?
Details from the incident in Braxton came to light after victims Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker filed a federal civil rights lawsuit in June. They alleged the officers illegally entered the home of a woman whom Parker was helping to take care of, handcuffed, kicked, waterboarded, and used tasers on Jenkins and Parker and attempted to sexually assault them over nearly 2 hours
What?
before Elwood put a gun in Jenkins' mouth and shot him. Many of
What?
the claims were later borne out of federal prosecutors in August as the 6 former officers pleaded guilty. The 6 then officers, when they were officers at the time, they went to a home after a neighbor reported that several black men were staying at a white woman's home and reported seeing suspicious behavior. But in the end, the officers found no crime. At least 3 of them were part of a group of deputies. They called themselves the Goon Squad because of their willingness to use excessive force and not report it. Just let's have comments in this day and age, cousin Todd. What do you think about that Mississippi officer trial?
I think that behavior is typical, and I'm glad justice was served. I think they should get life in prison, not 20 years. But this is what happens when you hire police who are Klansmen with no sheets. I've always said, I think police officers should be college educated. I don't think you should be able to graduate high school and just become a police officer. I think you need more training, more education in order to protect and serve the streets of America. But this case was so typical, and in the South, this happens constantly. It happens all over, North and South, but in the South in particular, it happens constantly. Maybe not to that extreme, but it always happens. What are you thanking me for? For the police?
No, it doesn't. It's not something that happens all the time. I think this is a
just
rare
said that.
thing.
No,
Right now,
no,
that's why I said, yeah, thank
no.
you.
I
I'm
said
agreeing
this
with you.
happens all the time. Maybe not to this extreme.
Right, and
But-
yeah, and thank you, not to this extreme, right? But I agree with you. It should be life in prison. I agree with that. But I don't hear about it all the time. Maybe it does happen
I
all the time.
know you
I
don't
don't
hear
ride
about
around in
it
your
all the
circles.
time. Remember, in my circles, oh my gosh, remember the rappers used to rap about the police, like
Yeah.
F the police and things like that. Why do you think they came up with those lines?
To make money, to act like they're street, to act like they have street cred.
Well, you're a white boy, so I would expect you to say that. But those of us who are not white know exactly why they were saying that, because this isn't new.
You're almost
Black
white.
people have been abused from the police ever since we were kidnapped and brought here. So this is not new.
You weren't kidnapped. You weren't kidnapped and brought here. Your own people sold you to people. That's not kidnapping.
Okay, excuse me. All right, Stephen, your comments about this, and I do want to show the
Well, can I get in real quick before you
victims.
do that? After he made that another erroneous statement again.
It's not erroneous. It's a fact.
No. Stephen Keith,
Like-
hold on, please. If you look at this picture, Stephen Keith,
What
just
is
hold
that?
on. If you look at this picture, that is a picture of the victim. Let me bring that down a little bit more for you.
I don't know this case, Stacy. Did anybody get killed?
No.
Okay. Well, that's why they don't get
So
life
this
in
is
prison. I guess.
Michael. This is Michael Corey Jenkins. He shows a scar left from having a gun fired off in his mouth.
So he actually shot the gun in his mouth.
Oh my
then he should get,
gosh.
whoever shot the gun should get life in prison.
This boy is crazy. No, they shouldn't get a penny because you didn't kill nobody. Oh, they should get you're crazy.
I don't know the case,
Pretty
Todd.
much.
I'm asking questions. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Okay,
So,
that's good. Okay,
Not
Stephen,
sure
that's
you're
good. You're
capable
learning.
of that.
Todd, you're jumping on him too soon. Stephen is learning, and stop jumping on him. Stephen
Right.
Keith, go ahead. Can you give us your comment, Stephen Keith?
Yeah, I think it's up to dispute whether he's capable of learning. That's something we can discuss at a later show, figure that out.
That's a good point.
I think so too. Now, the
Me
part
too.
about enslavement again, where these people come in and say, "Well, no, they were actually traded." No, that didn't happen until 100 years after the kidnapping had taken place. The first meeting of those groups was on the shores, and that's where you get the boats, and that's where you get them actually physically attacking people and loading them onto the boats. The trading didn't happen until 200 years later after they established ports and forts on the coastline, pushing the countries who used to be on the coast into the interior, creating the huge population problem they had. And then you can get into that. So we can't discuss these things like flippantly and just say they were all sold. It's a really deep and rich history you have to get into to understand it. This case kind of it's kind of perfect that parallels to this case, because this case we're talking about the biggest gang in America, which is the people who are working for the state, meaning they're drawing public money, taxpayer money, to be the biggest gang and enforce, in a way, that their overseer compatriots used to do before them. So, shout out to, because Todd brought up rap, shout out to KRS-One, officer, overseer, officer, overseer. Like, you see the distinction, you see how these things play out. And sadly, because these guys lived, that's the only reason we're able to find out about this case. Now, the state of Mississippi, as we found out earlier this year, they had these grave sites where people were being buried, no alert to the family, nothing to mark the grave, just bodies buried. Now, when you tell me the police force down there knew about that, and they had a crew like this running around, and remember, this is just one crew amongst the force. How many more are there in Mississippi? These are difficult things to find out, but you have to send the DOJ down there and really investigate to really find it. But the funny thing is, every time we send the DOJ somewhere to really thoroughly investigate these places, we find things like this. Why is that?
It's bizarre. It's really
Why it is maybe because you're saying we find that out probably because it's being hidden.
Bingo.
Bingo, bango.
I'm not for violence towards anybody. I'm all for peace. I'm all for peace. I'm not for violence for anybody. I mean, who would be on the side of the cops? Who would be like, yeah, go gang, yo, go. You represent
Donald
us.
Trump.
Who?
Donald Trump, who said, "Don't be so nice to them." They take their heads and they hold their heads.
Right. I didn't appreciate him.
So...
I didn't appreciate him saying that either, Todd.
Oh, really? Oh,
really? I don't like people. I don't like people hurting people that can't defend themselves in any kind of way, or hurting people in general. I mean, if somebody attacks me and I have to hurt them to get them off me, that's what I'm going to do. But I think just people who like to hurt people are people that I don't want to be around or associate with. These aren't good people, man. People who get off on hurting people like this goon squad, they're not good people. I hope they stay in jail. I hope they get beat up in jail and they can't get out or knocked off or whatever. I don't like people like that around on earth. And this is what we have. And this happens. Sometimes it's just psychopaths. They're just crazy. And you know what? They can go to college for 25 years and they can still be crazy and go out and kill people. You say the cops can't be, a high school graduate can be a really good kid. High school graduate can be a good kid and still be a good cop. That doesn't mean that takes away from him.
That's not the point. The point is a filtering.
No, that's what Todd said, though.
To where, well, he made a great point. That's a filtering process where you would weed some of that out. Of course, you're not going to get 100% of it, but you could get some of it out. That was the point Todd was making. Make the credentials, make the barrier to entry a little higher. That way, you get less and less of Jim, Jed, and Bob in there. But overall, though, when we talk about this institution, this is its reputation. So when those songs resonated with people, and it wasn't just rap music, we can go to punk rock. We can look at rock where they talked about it. Hell, we can go to country where they talked about it, trying to outrun Johnny Law when you talk about the bootlegging and everything else.
I shot the sheriff.
Indeed. Shout out to the great Bob Marley. So so when we discuss these institutions, it's very important that we lay these things out in a proper way to give people the insight to look into them a little more and find out about things like Serpico. Most Americans don't know that happened.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with everything you just said. Absolutely. And you have to police the police, and how it can get like this and how these guys can be a goon squad and how they can keep doing stuff, around the whole country doesn't make any sense. It has to stop, and it can be stopped. We like you said, get other people to come around and investigate, get people the things they have to do, because you can't just let this slide. You can't let it go into. If injustice is any injustice anywhere, it's against all of us. If we're want to be a peaceful citizenship in this country, then you can't allow anything like that.
Okay, let me just say this, Stephen. I would say, oh, good for you, Stephen, but you're so two-faced and flip-floppy.
How?
Now, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to need help with the name of the gentleman who was jogging, and he was mowed down. That's
not a flip-flop. It's a different situation.
Just a minute.
Did they shoot him?
Down by white racist people.
Ahmaud
Arbery.
Right. I will never back down from that argument.
Would you shut up?
I'll never back down from that argument.
Jogging in his own neighborhood.
No, he was not.
Shut up.
He wasn't.
He did what?
Okay, one at a time. Okay, please, Stephen, let him finish his point.
This is what Stacey tries to do. One at a time. She won't just say, Stephen, shut your pie hole. Todd. Stephen, one at a time. Anyway, shut your pie hole. So, anyway, Ahmaud Arbery was jogging in his own neighborhood.
He wasn't in his own neighborhood, but he was jogging freely.
He was in his own neighborhood. And he was jogging just like any citizen of the United States can do. And he did exactly what Stephen did. He went into a house that was being built the same way Stephen did and looked around, and he left just like Stephen did. Mm-hmm. But the difference is Stephen happens to be Caucasian. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was Ahmaud Arbery is not white. Therefore, he's a criminal.
He's dumb.
Like
He was stupid.
And so now he looked around, so he left. So the whole neighborhood going after him. And of course,
then he went jogging. When he left the house, he went jogging.
And of course, he doesn't know that he's dealing with a bunch of ignorant white racists. And so when he's being chased down the street in trucks, he doesn't know what's happening. And so, of course, Stephen said, they didn't chase him. And so they ran him off the road. So he turned and ran the opposite way. And a truck is cutting him off that way. And then these two white racist idiots jump out with a shotgun. And Stephen thinks, oh, you're supposed to lay down and do whatever they tell you to do. No, we've done that before. And it doesn't end well.
Okay, Cousin Todd, you can't talk the entire show.
So what he did was when this man has a shotgun on him and another man in the truck got a pistol pointed at him, he attacks the man who's holding a shotgun on him, and the man shoots him to death. And Stephen said he should have done what he was told. They told him to get down. He should just listen. He can't be no hero.
You're not a hero. You're a dumb. He's stupid. He's stupid for what he did. He was stupid, and he cost his own life. He cost his own. I'm not going to shut up, Nas. He was stupid. Todd, hey, we've been through this 1,000 times. If Todd, if I go in the house and I come out and people want to cut me off,
next topic, because I'm not listening to this idiot.
Because he don't want the truth. You don't want the truth.
All right.
You don't want the truth. You want your narrative, and your narrative's a lie. If you do not attack someone that's holding a gun, you don't bring your hands to a gunfight. That makes you stupid,
idiot.
It makes you stupid. Hey, when I got a gun on you, come here and try to take my gun from me. That makes you stupid.
Beat your ass, honestly.
It makes you stupid. Yeah, if I'm holding a gun, you go beat my ass.
I would beat your ass in any
You're gonna be swinging all the. You could be swinging your fist all the way to hell. You go swing your fist all the way to hell.
No, I just want you to know that.
You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing but a mouth, and you're scared to show your mouth.
Scared to show your
You're
mouth.
scared to say your name. You're scared to show your mouth. You're a coward. You're a coward with a big mouth. You're a coward with a big mouth. You're a dog with no teeth. I know you'll beat my ass. You're like that little Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show. You go beat everybody's ass, and you're 3 feet tall and 80 pounds.
Beat
You're the baddest. You're the baddest man in town. bad
Oh.
Leroy Brown, but you won't show your face.
Shut
But you won't
up,
show your
You're a
Steven.
face.
coward. You
You know
won't
what?
show
Shut
your
Excuse
the
me.
name or your
pie
Excuse
face.
me.
I'm
Everyone
all up
quiet,
here
please.
for
Well, you
I
shouldn't
must
be.
com- I must commend Stephen on not using curse words. He did really good. He's expressing himself
Listen at
without using curse
Stacy.
words. We're going to move on to
Stacy is
immigration.
beyond sick. I've never seen
Shut your
anything
pie
like
hole,
it.
Todd.
Where's the Guna?
He quit.
Aguna's in therapy from doing the show so long.
he
So the
he went.
Supreme Court allows
He's on a trip.
Texas. Yeah, Guna didn't quit. He's on a trip. Supreme Court allows Texas to begin enforcing the controversial immigration law, but then a federal court stopped it. Stephen Keith, do you want to talk about that?
I mean, not really. I mean, ultimately, so the headline, because of legalities, we have to do headlines like this where we can't say things as they actually are. So it's a racist law. It's going to turn out horribly. There's going to be people who are regular U.S. citizens who are going to be detained because of this. They're going to end up suing the state. The state's going to owe money for it. And the MAGAites and dumb sunburned faces of morons are going to think that this is good policy and good practice. But in actuality, we all know this is going to be a disaster. And the citizens are going to pay the bill for it because the taxpayers are the ones who are going to have to pay for the lawsuits.
Okay, Cousin Todd, if you look at this screen, it says new Texas law allowing police to arrest migrants is back on hold. Cousin Todd, your comment?
Back on hold. The Republicans had an opportunity to deal with the border. They came up with a plan to deal with the border, but then Big Daddy said, "Don't do it because I don't want Biden to get credit for it in an election year." And they said, "Yes, sir, Master, sir. We'll say no." And that's what they did. So I don't want to hear anything about this border from Republicans.
Biden can change everything with a stroke of a pen. He can
So,
seal that border with a stroke of a pen.
Stephen,
Steve,
this
why
this
don't you deal
article,
with what I just said? The
You're
Republicans
full
came
of.
up with a plan to take care
They
of the border,
did. The
secure the
Republicans did
border.
not come up with a plan.
They
That's not
did.
true. The
Okay, you
Republicans did
don't know
not
what
come
you're
up with a
talking
plan,
about.
and Trump told them not to. You don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, you
All
just
Biden has
repeated
to
what
do
I
is go
said.
back and do what Trump did, and they can stop this invasion of our country. They just need to do what Trump did, and he can do it with a stroke of a pen. He can do
Why
it.
would he
Biden can
need
do.
to?
Biden doesn't want to.
First,
If
you
listen,
people
Todd,
hate a stroke of a pen.
if Biden
You,
wanted to,
oh God,
stop what's going on, if
He's
Biden
just
wanted
going
to
to say
stop
this
what's going on,
50
then
times all over again.
why is he
Mm.
going against Texas, who wants to go enforce the laws and send these criminals back out of this country? Why does the federal government want to keep people coming in? Ask yourself that, Todd. Why do we want all these people to come in our country?
Oh, ask yourself that, Todd.
Ask yourself that, Todd.
He
If
went
that
to his
is your real
conspiracy
name.
bag. Ask
okay,
yourself that
excuse
one,
And
me.
buddy.
Mexico, Stacy,
So,
real quick, Mexico won't take them back. Mexico's already said we won't take them back if you try to send them here. You know why? Because don't nobody want these people. Why would we want them? Mexico said we don't want them. The law is
okay,
we send them
so
back to the country they came from. So if they came from Mexico, we send them back there, even if they're from Ethiopia or Iran. It doesn't matter where they're from. We're supposed to send them back.
excuse
So
me.
that wouldn't
Okay,
be
Stephen,
sending
thank
them
you.
back, right?
That
You moron.
article was
Back
written
to
by
Mexico.
Josh Gerstein and Kiara Frazier on 319 and updated on 320 at 12:41 a.m. I'm going to move on.
before
Stephen,
you move
by
on,
the
I just want to
comments
say
you
this
said,
one thing
you've made your
about
point.
people coming here to America. Stephen should go back to our where
I
did you
came
come
here
from?
legally. I came here legally.
Oh, okay, okay. This country did not look like this when you got here. When your
Mhm.
people took this land over and stole it, when you call these people invaders, that's because your mind is going back to what you and your people did.
We've been
This
invaded,
country,
Todd.
hey, this
We've been
country.
invaded.
We have
We've
been by you,
Man,
by
no, we're
your
losing our.
people.
We had the most wonderful country. We had the most wonderful country that was blessed by God,
Stephen,
Oh
and we
man,
this
blew
shut
it. We
it
up.
blew it
was a
because of people like
wonderful
you are ignorant.
it was a wonderful country
Because of
before you
people like
people
you.
invaded it.
It was not a
Do
wonderful
you
country. It
know?
was a bunch of warring Indians. There was a bunch of warring Indians. That's what you had. Do you think there was a bunch of people just sitting around singing
wait,
Kumbaya? This
wait.
is what
No, they were
happened back
living
then.
life.
Me.
People conquer people. Now we're gonna about our
Well,
country.
This
Your
might
country you're
this
living is
might be
gonna.
the
You're gonna lose
dumbest
your country,
person
Todd.
on
You're
earth.
going to lose your country from what's happening.
We
You
never
can't. This
will
is
Well,
lose
not
our
okay,
sustainable.
excuse
This
country.
me.
has never happened in this
Okay, you got
country.
to stop talking. You got to stop talking,
Okay.
please. I'm going to move on to former President Trump and his comments. I want to start with Stephen, then Stephen Keith, and then Cousin Todd. If you look at the screen, thehill.com reported that by Nick Robertson that Trump says some undocumented immigrants are not people and warns the U.S. will see a bloodbath if former President Trump isn't reelected. Was that something responsible that he should have said? And why would a president say there'd be a bloodbath?
The bloodbath was a comment about the U.S. auto industry. This is all taken out of context. That's what that is. That's what the bloodbath comment was. It has nothing to do with the first statement you just read.
Explain
Let's
it.
put it back. Put it back up there,
Explain
Stacey,
it.
if you can. Put it back up there, if you will, Stacey.
Okay, now
Trump
you
says
explain it.
undocumented immigrants are not people. I don't know. I've never heard him say that. I don't. What is the Hill? Are they far left? Maybe I
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh.
But I mean, I haven't heard Trump say
He thinks
they're
the Hill is
undocumented
far
people are
left.
not people.
Man, come on.
That doesn't make sense. He doesn't even call them undocumented people. But did he say some undocumented? What you can understand is a lot of people that
Oh
come in
my
here
gosh.
are coming here as hostile towards us. You can't have millions of people that are our enemies come through our
And
country the way they have.
millions.
Our enemy, we have China, military age Chinese people here. Do you think they're here just to go to Disney World? You people are insane. You have lost your country because of what this administration has done. What this administration has done, we have lost the United States. Because, and I know you don't care because you hate the country and all of its past. But this country has been great for all of y'all on here. And we're going to lose it because y'all are too stupid. Y'all are too stupid to keep it. Not you, Stacey. Not you, Stacey.
Stephen, thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you,
So if you look
Stacey.
if you look at the screen, it says Trump warns of bloodbath for auto industry and country if he loses the election. What do you think he meant by that, Stephen Keith?
Because everything's going out of this country and all the auto workers. No, wait a minute. All the auto workers. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, you raggedy possum, shut up. Okay, so first things first, the comment about people being not human, that's a big part of what you see in genocide. So when somebody uses language like that, you get an idea about what they plan on doing to those people. But yeah, he said these people are not human, they're animals. This is what he said verbatim. So don't play the context trick like you typical damn Magites do. Now, the second part.
Okay.
He said some of the
ahead.
people are not human and some of the people are not human. They're
Excuse me.
murderers. They're killers.
Shut up.
Stephen,
up,
we
you
got to let him
disease
finish and then
swamp
go
rat.
Cousin Todd.
The second part, this is where everything gets messy because he's playing on old sensibilities of things that people were afraid of back in the 80s and the 90s. But the idea that we should be worried about the market share of the car industry and especially China as the big competitor in that. So now this was nonsense to his base, who he knows doesn't read, who he knows doesn't know many things, and he was playing into their emotion. But no, the U.S. doesn't have to fear China as the next big car manufacturer who's going to take our market share. They're producing, electric cars, very small electric cars, and it's mostly for consumption inside China and also India. Now
I'm not saying China's going to beat us in production. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Shut the hell
I'm
up.
saying nobody wants an electric car, and that's what will kill the industry. Nobody wants electric cars.
Stop him.
You red-faced
Stephen, you
baboon,
got to let
shut
him
up.
finish.
I'm going to answer when he's lying on me, Stacey. Shut up.
Okay,
Shut
Stephen,
up,
you
man.
can't do it. I'm sorry. Okay,
Grow
Stephen
up.
Keith, have you finished so I can go to Cousin Todd?
No, he's not finished. He cut him off. Now start from the
Interrupted by a
beginning.
mongoose.
Start from the
Possum.
beginning.
Over or whatever animal face that person is. But no, finishing the point, they're going to have their own little car battle, and that's China and India because they're doing infrastructure and also they're kind of, you want to be honest, they're increasing the size of their middle classes in China and India, and they're going to spend a lot more on consumption. But that has nothing to do with the world market where people are mainly selling oil using cars and hybrids. But those little small electric vehicles that he's talking about in this scenario, no, that's not going to affect U.S. car manufacturing. This is typical Trump fear mongering to his ignorant racist base.
Cousin Todd.
I completely agree. Also, remember they bailed out the auto industry and Republicans had a fit about that?
Yes, years ago.
Yeah, and now now they flip. But Stephen is a typical flip flopper, and for Trump to make those people the other, this is a typical tactic that people like Trump use to get you to hate those people. When, again, like I said, they are the invaders. And then Stephen says, oh, well, countries invade. So let the Mexicans invade. I don't
Good, you get to your
mind.
country.
So
Okay.
we let you invade, and now you people took over. So why can't you go back to the beginning, Stephen? I want you to use your brain now. Remember when you people came over here and
Why do you keep
killed the
repeating
people
yourself?
that were here?
Why do
Because
you
you
keep repeating
say
yourself?
that's the way people do. They conquer. So they're conquering again.
Can I
So
say something
shut
really
up
quick,
and
Stacey,
go
that'll wrap
back
this up
No,
really
to
you got to
quick?
let him finish.
Europe.
I
Go
mean,
back
he's
to
not
You got
saying
to let
Europe.
him
anything but the
finish.
same garbage. He's
Go
just
back
wasting
to
It
time.
Europe
doesn't
where
matter.
you
He
came
has to
from.
finish.
All right.
Didn't you come
Okay.
from Ireland? Just go back to Ireland. That way you don't have to worry about the Mexicans. And take all of your people with you.
All right. If Joe's talk, good, nice comments. If Joe
Are you
Biden
okay?
wins, if Joe Biden wins again, the problem is going to be
Did you have
as
a
they
It's
want to
stroke?
do.
evil.
They're forcing electric cars on people, and they don't want them.
Force
That's
it.
going to
They're
hurt
making you
our
How's
buy
auto
them.
forcing ammonia?
industry. Our auto
I
industry
was at
don't want
my
that. It's
house
going to hurt
yesterday.
every.
They
That's what
said you better
that's what he's
buy
talking
electric
about.
car, boy. You better
Donald
buy
Trump's going to
electric
go
car,
back to
boy.
pumping
Man,
oil. Donald Trump's going to go back to getting gas lower, and then people having gas-powered cars and enjoying life that way and make this country stronger again. And that's what
and
we all
make
should
more
want, all of
coal.
this country to be strong again. If we have to go to EV, is what Joe Biden and his gang of misfits wants us to go to. If we do that, it's going to ruin this country because the
How's it
vast
going to ruin
majority
this
don't want it.
country?
We're never going to have enough electricity. The only way that will work is if we have nuclear power plants everywhere in this country. That's the only way we can power all these electric cars. Because like in California and different leftist states are saying by 2030, by 2035, there's going to be no gas cars. You can't have a car that runs on gas. You have to have an electric car. They're going to force you to have an electric car. And that's going to ruin the auto industry.
Just
And
like
that's
they
why these
Thank
forced
people
you
you.
to
who
have
work for the
internet.
auto industry, that's why they are
Just like
supporting
they
Donald Trump.
forced you to have
That's why Donald
internet.
Trump's going to win by a
Okay, thank
landslide.
you.
Okay,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Now we're going to.
whoa, Stacy, hold on. Quick correction.
No, let
The,
Stacey talk. Let Stacey talk.
the UAW in Michigan, the leading car manufacturing union, actually has supported Joe Biden and talked about Trump very badly. So they do not support him. And then the second point, the
They're only
U.S. is
one group.
the U.S. is the biggest oil manufacturer and supplier
In the
on
world.
the globe. It has not slowed down ever since the Obama years. We have been the biggest
That's not
producer of
true.
gas and oil. I'm
That's
sorry, it
not
is.
true.
I
Okay,
know
That we
you're
thank
didn't
you.
have to
dumb.
go through our whole
I know
entire
you're
reserve.
dumb,
We didn't have to
but
go
it's
through our
true.
entire reserve because we were producing so much oil. Everything you say,
Okay,
Reserve.
Stephen, you
You're
got to
dumb.
stop.
you're
I'm
going to
You
pay
sorry.
don't
for
know
those
what you're talking
lies.
about.
You're going to pay for
We're
every
going to
lie you
start
ever
with our.
tell.
We're
You're
on our
just a
round
liar,
table.
dude. I have no respect for you, man. You just lie.
Stacy,
You're
can you
just a
Google who's
liar.
the biggest oil producer in the world? Can you Google that right now?
Okay, who is the
Let's see if
biggest oil
Stephen's right.
Okay.
producer in the world?
Just Google that. And while you're
See if
Googling
Stephen's
that,
right.
we didn't talk about Donald Trump not being able to afford his
All right, we
400
can do
and
that, cousin Todd. You're going to do that as a part of your round table.
okay. All right,
So
but in
let
the
me
meantime,
share.
look up that he
I've
okay,
got it
there
right
it is.
here.
Make it
Okay.
bigger.
All right. Who's the biggest oil producer in the world? Google. Says the top 5 crude oil producers was the United States, Saudi Arabia,
Wait a
Russia,
minute. Why
Canada,
are you
and
going so
Iraq.
fast? This is what a typical Trump supporter does. They go real fast so that she can cater to this crackpot. So now, what
No,
does it
that's not
say
what I'm
again?
doing.
That
Todd,
is.
shut your pie hole. This is not what I'm doing. I know people can see it, so I just said it quickly because I know people can read it on the
Don't.
screen.
Now you made a claim, Stephen. Now you said we weren't. Now
But that's
now do you
but that's
understand that we are?
2022. Had it stayed the
You
same
want
since
to do
2022?
2023? You want to do that again? Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it again. What's the problem with this?
All right, let me see 2020.
See,
Well,
the
we have to go
problem is you won't
2023
look into
because
things and you
in
don't know, and then you just
2024 we
assume
haven't
you're
had the
right.
whole year yet.
Shut up,
Exactly.
Stacy, and just read it.
But just sometimes have some humility and admit, okay, I didn't know much about this topic. I shouldn't have jumped out there and said that. I was wrong. Like that, it's
So
simple.
now it says the United States, the top oil producers: United States, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and Canada, and Iraq.
Now,
As of
Stephen,
February 18th,
No. Hey, I've learned something. Great. I've learned something. Good. Thank you.
okay, now wait, but
That's why we have
Biden
discussions so
is
people can
evil.
learn.
No.
Biden is evil.
You said I was a liar and I was evil and I don't know what I'm
And
No,
you're
doing.
gonna
I
pay
said
for
you
every
lie. You
lie
do
you
lie a
tell.
lot. Now we can go back to every show and I can show where you've lied a lot.
You just
Then maybe you
lied
won't
right
lie about
now
this
in
one.
real
And
time.
hey,
okay, excuse
I
me, and we
apologize
have a
about you
comment.
lying on this one.
Excuse me. We have a comment from James Hines. It says LOL.
We put everything into that comment.
All right, now we're going to go to this is our roundtable. I want to talk about GOP spending bill and how they're trying to balance this budget and sign this
That
bill
blows
and the
my
problems
mind.
they're having. And then we're going to have Todd talk about what comment did you want us to talk about, Todd?
Donald Trump not being able to afford to pay his fine. That 400 and something $million, and so he has to have that by Monday. Monday is the deadline.
Okay, so first we're going to start. First we're going to start with GOP spending hawks bash Speaker Johnson's minibus. We're going to start with Stephen, then Stephen Keith, and Cousin Todd. And then after you finish talking about the GOP minibus in terms of the budget, you're going to talk about what Todd just brought up. So the question is for the roundtable is housing conservatives. This is by thehill.com, Michael Snell and Mike Lillis on March 20th at 6 a.m. House conservatives are railing against the latest spending deal negotiated by Speaker Mike Johnson, accusing leadership of ignoring their demands and warning that future generations will be swamped in federal debt. Their outcry is just the latest headache for Johnson, who has already cut a number of bipartisan funding deals with President Biden and did so again this week, announcing an agreement on the last 6 spending bills of fiscal year 2024 ahead of Friday's government shutdown deadline. Johnson's endorsement acknowledges the political realities of governing in a divided Washington where Democrats control both that White House and the Senate, and any major legislation requires bipartisan compromise. Keith, if that's the truth and it requires bipartisan compromise.
You mean Stephen?
I mean, Stephen, if that's
Keith
the truth,
can also be here. I'm here.
It requires bipartisan compromise.
Consensus.
How can the Republicans be upset with Speaker Johnson? Keith.
You mean Stephen?
I mean Stephen.
Stacy.
Same thing.
I don't know. This stuff is going on and on and on. And who do we trust? Who do we depend on? Who do we know is on our side? I don't know. What we like about 5%. They get about a 5% rating on both sides, Republicans and the Democrats. And a speaker was let go, and a new speaker comes in, and they all do the same thing. I know you need to be bipartisan. You need help. You need people on both sides. It's got to work. It just doesn't work like this. This isn't working. Nothing is right. Something.
Since when?
Since It's been that way for a while. How long? How
How
long
can
have we had
this
the
guy? We're out of
feelings
time.
about the Senate and the House? And we're like, they got about a 7% approval rating. It's a reason for that, Todd. It's because they never do get
because
anything
they
done.
don't
They
get
keep pushing
anything
everything
done
down the
because of
road.
the
They keep pushing it down the
Republicans.
road, and it's both sides.
No, it's not.
It's just the Republicans because I've been
Yes.
brainwashed to know it's only the Democrats are here. They got the Superman capes on. It's
Okay.
just old. It's really
Okay, now
old, and
go on to
all
the
of them
And
second
are
then,
out for
topic.
themselves, Todd. Almost
okay,
all
the
of them
second
on both
question.
sides.
Okay, Stephen, the second question by Todd. What's the
Was
second
Yeah,
question, Todd?
what that,
what is Trump
that
going to
I
do?
know the question. It's unconstitutional to start with. It's
What
just
is be
the
specific? We
amount
want
the amount is excessive and unfair,
Huh?
and it's higher than it's ever been, and nobody is. This is how you do business in New York. This is how people do things. For the judge to do this on his own is completely out of the way. You don't do this to people. If they did this to Trump, they could do it to every other businessman there. They could say, you think your business, you think that building's worth 100 million? I think it's worth 8 million. So I'm gonna make you pay $500 million. I'm gonna make you pay $1 billion, and anybody that judge doesn't like, he can take them out. Todd, what if you get rich like that and they try to take you out? This is bigger than Donald Trump. Can you ever get past a
This is
person?
bigger than
This is
Nino Brown,
this is
Todd.
never happened before in this country. Never has this ever happened.
happens
Donald Trump
all the
hurt nobody.
time.
Donald Trump hurt nobody. Nobody got hurt.
Okay, thank you,
No
Stephen.
bank now, and
Thank you, Stephen.
every bank that they said he ripped them off, they want to still do business with him because that's how
They do.
Thank
business
you,
They do
works.
Stephen.
not. They
No,
do
they
not.
That's
don't.
Thank you,
exactly
Stephen. Go.
right.
Okay, thank you, Stephen Keith. You're next.
Yeah. So the first story where he tried to play it as a both sides thing. No, we're discussing the Republicans in this particular instance because the idea is there's never enough cutting. There's never enough on the table for you to seem like the most conservative guy. So it's always got to be, well, we should cut more. We should cut more. So because of that, we talked about this a year ago. We said John Boehner and anybody else who's pushed into that position, it's a losing position because everybody else is always going to have the knives out for you, and they're going to come attack you with the idea of fiscal responsibility when it actually has no bearing in real life. Because in real life, if you were concerned about U.S. budgetary spending problems, you would go to the military where the money actually is and say, okay, we're going to cut this, that, and the third, if that was your real discussion. But if you're playing it up for rubes who are always easily led by the nose, you can constantly tell them this same story and you can make political hay out of it. So they're ruining Johnson's tenure. They're not really giving him a chance to be speaker because everybody else wants his job, and they see an easy way to get a win. So that's what they did to him again.
And Trump not being able to pay the monies.
Well, you kind of shouldn't have been bragging about how much money you claim to have and all these other things. You've got some obligations that you're just going to have to pay. No, this is not a case that's specific to Trump. There have been many
No.
corporations, there have been many CEOs who've been put through a process similar to this. The only difference is typically when those guys talk, they had the money. The problem is he's burned so many bridges, he doesn't have the credibility to go to some of these, banks and companies and hedge funds and get them to release funds to him so he can pay this off. So, I mean, that's the issue. I think he's going to have to take Truth Social public and try to sell that. And then, if he can get the money that way, he can use that money to pay his fines and kind of go forward. But yeah, this is not specific to Trump. This is not some kind of witch hunt or anything like that. Trump has some of the highest legal counsel anybody could pay for. He's not being represented by a lawyer on the side of your bus. This is just his chickens coming home to roost. He did this for decades.
Thank
Exactly.
you, cousin Todd.
Yeah, to pick up on what Stephen Keith was saying, he's been doing this, which Stephen fails to realize or to admit, because sometimes Stephen just doesn't know. Just like he didn't know that the fact that was just proven to him. So
I appreciate it.
He's been doing this for years, pretending that his properties was worth much more than they really were, and that is a crime. You cannot trick a bank, which is what he was doing, into thinking your building is 8,000 square feet and it's only 80 feet. You can't do that because you got more money for that property from the bank. And then when it's tax time, you say, oh, my apartment is only 8 feet wide. So you're going back and forth. So you can't do that. For example, Stephen, if you did that, you would go to jail. Did you hear what I said? You would be in jail.
Everybody in New York that's a businessman like him does it.
Steven,
They all do it.
That's not
It's
true.
not a. It's what he did was not a crime. Yes, it is. It's 100% true.
By
Google
letter
it.
of the law, it is a crime.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You got to
It
stop
was
finish.
not a
By the
crime.
time I'm gonna have to end the show. Thank you.
And so, Stephen, this is how he gets away with being so ignorant. It's not a crime.
I'm not
It's not a
ignorant.
crime. Until Stacy Googles it, and then he
Hey,
says, "Oh, well,
Stacy,
thank
he
you.
has to
Thank
pay
you."
this fine. Stacy, he has to
No,
pay this
no,
fine
no.
just so he can
Stephen,
appeal the ruling.
Stephen,
Stacy, do you
Stephen,
think
this
he
is
should
his
have to pay the
roundtable.
fine so he has to appeal so he can appeal
This
the
is his
ruling?
roundtable. I don't care. Todd said blah 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 blah. This is his roundtable. Go finish your
But hey, can
roundtable,
I
Todd.
Todd, let me ask you real quick. We got time.
No, don't
Should he
ask him
have to?
anything.
Should he have to
Don't
pay
ask him
millions of
anything.
dollars to appeal to get an appeal hearing? Should he have to
That's a
pay the
good.
entire
Okay,
fine to
you
get an
already
appeal?
asked.
I think
That
that's wrong.
just listen to the answer.
Okay.
You are no different than he is. This is
That's
the
not the
law.
answer.
This is the law. This happens over and over and over again. If you break the law and pretend that your properties are worth more than, then you get in trouble for it. That's cheating on your taxes, and that's cheating the banks.
How
This
does
is
a
why the
judge
bank.
know how much anything is worth? How does a
Well,
judge know what anything? He's not the bank. He's not the
Okay,
mortgage
excuse me. We're
company.
out of time. Thank you, Todd. Did you
well,
finish?
Todd, you're
Thank you.
wrong.
To our
they
first
use
Thank-
responders
appraisers
in our
and lawyers.
to our first responders in our communities, you
As-
make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do in sacrificing your lives so that we are free to say whatever we choose on this show. We are forever indebted. On behalf of Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican who's off,
He ain't show up to
Keith,
work.
the
Don't give him
constitutional
no credit.
conservative who's off, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. Thank you, Stephen Keith, for joining us. I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on X, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. And on TikTok, we're at Sporlitiks.com on TikTok. Check us out on Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network. And we will not be here next week for Good Friday and Easter. We wish everyone who celebrates a very Good Friday and a very happy Easter. We'll see you after that. Good night.
Oh, he changed the beat up. Okay. Can we get a little freestyle? Steven, I heard you're a rapper. You ain't got no bars, boy. But
Well,
no, man, this was a ticking time bomb, always was, man. Like,
Right.
if he would have stayed in the shadows, of course, this never comes to light. But when
Exactly.
you run for political office and people can do investigations on you, things like
They're
this.
they're trying to keep him. This is election interference all over again.
I got you.
This is
Just hold
election
on.
interference right in front of your face.
You've already said
He
that.
did nothing wrong. Donald Trump did nothing wrong.
We've already heard you say
If Donald
that.
Trump wasn't running for office, they wouldn't have all these
How many
cases
times are you
against
going to
him.
say that? You said it. We heard it.
I just explained that to
Right,
you by
but you got to understand they're doing it because they don't want him to run, and that's why they wanted states were saying they don't want him to be on the ballots. They don't want him to. This is election interference, and this judge should be hung. The judge should be hung.
Can you listen?
He went against the Constitution. The judge went against the Constitution.
You always
You can't. This is an excessive fine. Say what y'all are saying. Say it's okay. No. Say this. He did something. He broke the law.
I will. So this happens to drug dealers every day when their stuff.
He's a drug dealer now.
And they get really high bond. No, the point is about illegal activity. You could name it anything. The point is about
this is
illegal activity.
This is unprecedented.
Hey man. Hey man. Do you want to talk
Never
about it?
happened.
If you want to have a back and forth, we can. If you don't want to, then
all right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so your point about this wouldn't happen if he wouldn't have ran for office, I would say is correct. It wouldn't happen. The problem becomes when you say this is unconstitutional and election interference. No. If they investigate you and find nothing, they can't do anything to you. Now, if they investigate and find things, that's a you problem. The problem was his house wasn't clean enough. Now, again, if he never ran and kind of rolled all his debt over until his dying day, he would have gotten away with it. But the
You don't
fact
have
that
no
he became
debt.
yes, he does.
What?
But the fact that he'll tell you, hell, that's what he's saying right now to them. He's telling
Look, man,
hey,
the
I got debt.
reason he's having a hard time. You said earlier, oh,
Brother.
he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. He should be able to pay
Clearly.
this. Listen, what you know about rich people? It's not liquid. His money is not liquidated. His money's in those buildings. That's why he doesn't have the cash to pay this unreasonable bond. That's what the deal is. Then it's excessive. It should be something that somebody should be able to pay for. This is unconstitutional. And the only reason they're going is because they are on one side and they don't want him to run for president. They are completely corrupt and they don't want him to run for president.
So do you think they randomly came up with a number, or the number is based on the scale of his misbehavior?
Because what did they say Mar-a-Lago was worth? 18 million?
Simple question.
They said Mar-a-Lago was worth 18 million.
Simple question.
You think it's only worth 18 million? Then you're goofy, man.
It's about Mar-a-Lago.
There's houses in Florida worth 18 million. It was an arbitrary figure that he came up with because he hates Donald Trump and they don't want him to be president. That's what it's all about. Y'all are celebrating your own demise. You've lost your country because of all of your hate, because you are racist and you're unreasonable and you're not decent people. I'm sorry I called you a liar because usually you lie. And I thought since oil was gas was so high and oil so high, and I got to pay so much for my oil heat, that's happened when Biden came into office. How could we produce so much? If we produce it, what the hell are we doing with it? Because if we produce so much, we'd be like Saudi Arabia, and we all should get it free. It's just, everything's fall into place like that. We should have $1.50 gas.
I didn't know they left. All right, Stephen, have a good night. Happy holiday.
Peace and love. Enjoy your Easter.
Oh, wait. Somebody said, look at a comment. Don't play with me, Stephen. I will call in and take you down. James Hines.
Who's James Hines?
I don't know.
Take me down to Chinatown? Take me down where? James Hines.
All right. Good night.
All right. Take care.